Good morning. This is Rachel Shea with Senior Insurance Marketing, and I'm here along with Tom Evans and Chuck Geisinger, and they are going to explain more about Medica and why it is such a great tool for you to use and something that your clients are going to be interested in. So, Tom?
Thank you very much, Rachel. Appreciate it. First thing I want to say right out of the chute is Medica Prime Solution. That is the name of our cost plan. And our cost plan is different. I'm going to go through and kind of explain. It's kind of a hybrid between a Med Sup and a Med Advantage. But Prime Solution is the name of our cost plan. What we're going to go over today is a little bit of Medica's background, so you have an understanding of how Medica's been around, how long, and what we're doing. The cost plan history and the cost plan background. Then we're going to talk about the cost plans themselves, service areas, features, benefits, etc., and then broker support. So we've got quite a bit to cover. If you do have questions, I think, Rachel, is there a chat box?
Yes, there is. So if anybody has any questions, just go ahead.
Send them through anytime. Okay, with that, Medica always starts their meetings off with mission driven to be the trusted health plan of choice for our customers, members, broker partners, and our employees. And you can see the picture there from Minnetonka of some of the employees. Our office is in Minnetonka, Minnesota, just down the street from another big company, or another little company. No, I shouldn't say that. United Healthcare is down the street. But we're right there in beautiful Minnetonka. We have been around for 44 years. We have over 2,000 employees. We have 4 regional offices now, Duluth, Fargo, Omaha, and St. Cloud. And we are a not-for-profit. Now, one reason I want to state that, in Minnesota, it used to be you had to be not-for-profit in order to sell health insurance. Consequently, United Healthcare sold all of their health insurance in Minnesota through Medica. Now they've passed a law that you can be a for-profit company, so United's on their own. They're no longer selling it through us. We have a Medica Foundation that contributes to numerous organizations. Heartland of the, or let's see, Food Bank of the Heartland, we contributed about $20,000, I think it was, to them recently with the COVID going on and the food needs they had. One thing over on the right where it says 1.8 million calls handled annually, those are from Medica employees in Minnetonka. They talk a little Minnesotan. They say, you betcha, things like that. They're not farmed out to a foreign country or somewhere else. They're right there in beautiful Minnesota. The cost plan. Some of you may have seen the cost plan questions when you get certified, because there's questions on there, but maybe have never really seen a cost plan itself. Well, it was authorized by Congress in 1972, so it goes back a long ways. In 1997, with the Balanced Budget Act, it was established that it was going to be sunsetted. So it was going to go away completely. And then in 2003, legislation passed, said, nope, it's going to stay indefinitely. And there's going to be a 2-plan test. That 2-plan test will determine if it's okay to still be in a county. If it flunks the test, then they have 2 years to pull out of that county. So in 2018, the plans were required to withdraw from all of the 2-plan test counties. We had quite a few in Minnesota, which we expected. We had none in South Dakota. We have all of the counties in North and South Dakota. In fact, we have of managed care plans, we have about, I think it's 85% of the business up in South Dakota now. The cost plan's really done well up there, but the 2-plan test counties, the 2-plan test is if you're in a rural county, you have 1,500 members in Med Advantage plans, and 2 Med Advantage plans being offered, then we're not available to offer the cost plan. If you're in an urban area, you have 5,000 members with 2 MAs offered, Med Advantage plans offered, then we're not allowed to be there. The counties we've gone into in Nebraska, we've determined that we're minimum 5 years plus, and maybe like South Dakota, never have to pull out. If we did ever have to pull out, it would be an SEP, and also it's a 2-year time period that the pullout would take place. So I don't want you to worry about that. Medica is the largest of 8 plans that are selling cost plans out there. And you can see the states that have a cost plan where they're being offered. Those are the only states that have a cost plan. Cost plans are allowed to expand, so we can expand in other states, and we're going to be looking at Western Colorado possibly, Montana possibly, and a few other places with good rural areas. But there are no new cost contracts allowed. What I'm saying there is like a Blue Cross of Montana cannot come up with a cost plan because they don't have one, and CMS shut the door on any carrier adding a cost plan to be able to sell it. There are competitive commissions on the cost plan, and effective dates are year-round. You can write a cost plan any month of the year. You just write it prior to the first of the following month. It's effective the following month after that. There's only one underwriting question, and I'm going to repeat that a little bit later, but it's end-stage renal disease. If they have that, they're unable to get on the cost plan. Otherwise, there's no underwriting either. So effective dates year-round. What is a cost plan? Well, you know what a Med-Sup is. So that's Part A, Part B, and then you have a Med-Sup or Medigap plan. Then you have a Med Advantage plan, which is Part C and Part D, which I'm sure you're probably familiar with those. Some of you may not have them in your area yet. Some of them may be just starting to get them in the area. And then what you basically have with the cost plan is it's a hybrid between the two. Part A, Medicare is primary. Part B, Medica is primary. Medica is primary for Part B. We have no Part D on our Medicare cost plan in Nebraska. So there is no Part D. That's offered up in South Dakota. So you can pick and choose what Part D plan you want that's best for the customers that you have. You can kind of look and see what their needs are and pick the best one there. So it is governed by CMS, so we follow the same rules as Medicare Advantage. And Med-Sup is governed by the local states, so the insurance department. So it's a little bit different there. We do have to follow Med Advantage. You have to have a scope of appointment when you're going to see the folks. There's some different rules that you do have to follow on that since it is a cost plan. Okay, original Medicare. With a cost plan, you don't lose original Medicare. Cost plans don't replace Medicare. Members can see out-of-network providers inside the service area and they still have Medicare. You may have a hospital and all of their primary care doctors and their specialists, but you don't have a dermatologist, for example. Well, you can still see that dermatologist and you still have regular or original Medicare for that dermatologist. Nothing goes toward the out-of-pocket or anything of the cost plan, but you still have regular Medicare if there is not a provider, if that provider is not in our network, in a provider network county. Members get the best value, obviously, for in-network providers. We're going to talk about other ways to get in-network providers. Here's the eligibility for cost plan people. Enroll in Medicare's Part A and B, or if you run into somebody as Part B only, we can write it with Part B only, but most of them are always going to be enrolled in Medicare's Part A and B, still pay your premium for Part B, and you cannot have end-stage renal disease. If you had it and now you're doing okay, you've recovered from it, then that's a possibility that you can go ahead and join. If you get it during the time that you're with us, you still stay with us, but you can't have it to join. And you must permanently reside in a Medica plan service area. So other than that, there's no underwriting, and you can write it anytime during the year. If you have a Med-Sup out there that just took an increase because of their birth date change, you can write a cost plan right there at that time. In Nebraska, these are the counties we currently have for 2020. These are cost plan counties. For 2021, we're adding Cheyenne, which is way out west. We're adding Jefferson, which is south and a little bit west of Lincoln, Lancaster area. We're adding Nemaha. Those are counties that we're adding in there. So as you can see, there's Jefferson, Nemaha, and Cheyenne way out here. Now I'm going to use Cheyenne as an example here. Cheyenne doctors, we have doctors there in Cheyenne, but a lot of the people in Cheyenne County actually doctor in Denver. If they go down to Denver and that provider accepts Medicare assignment, they are in network. All they have to do is accept Medicare assignment. So they can go to doctors in Denver, or they can go to doctors over actually in Cheyenne, Wyoming. People in other counties, if you have somebody back here that's in Buffalo and they go to a doctor in Dawson, Dawson's not an in-network county. As long as they go to them and they accept Medicare assignment, they're considered in-network. So we'll touch on this again here in a minute. Just to give you an idea of Norfolk area, we have a great network up in the Norfolk area. We're writing a lot of business up there in that area. You kind of get an idea of some of the hospitals and medical groups. And this gives you an idea of Hastings, Grand Island, and Kearney, where we're also writing quite a bit of business. There is one area that we're not writing as much, and that's in southeast Nebraska a little bit, or in York too, which is south central, sort of just outside of Lincoln. Because Bryan Hospital, you can go to Bryan Hospital in Lincoln, and they accept Medicare assignment, and they're in network. But if they have their traveling van doing MRIs out in York, then that's something in York, and they're not an in-network provider, but they're in York County. So they have to be an in-network provider. So they would have just regular Medicare there. We're working on a contract with Bryan right now, so hopefully we'll have that set up fairly soon. But as you can see, Hastings, Grand Island, Kearney, Norfolk, those areas are really, really good, and a lot of the other rural areas around there. We're writing quite a bit of business with this cost plan. So here's just, again, about inside the service area. You have the prime solution or cost network, so you can go there. Or if the provider isn't in the prime solution cost network, they have original Medicare. So one way or the other, they have coverage either in network or coverage with original Medicare. Outside of the network, you do have doctors. We have doctors in Omaha that are signed up to be in network because they travel up in Norfolk and Columbus and places like that too. So that way we have doctors in Omaha that are in network, but also travel coverage. If you're going, or Snowbird, if you're going to an area that is not one of our cost counties, all they have to do again is accept Medicare assignment. You've got somebody going down or going over to Mayo Clinic over in Minnesota. Mayo Clinic is considered in the network. They accept Medicare assignment, and they're also already in our network. Individual plans, if you write individual under age 65, you have to have a referral to go to Mayo and approval to go to Mayo. But on this plan, you can go directly to Mayo Clinic, and it's considered in network. So it's a little bit different. Now, something else I want to throw in here too. We've been talking about seniors and 65 plus. If you have somebody who's under 65 and they are fully disabled and on Medicare, they are eligible for this plan too, as long as they don't have end-stage renal development. So, and it's the same rate for that person as it is for a 65-year-old, same rate for a 75-year-old, same rate for a 95-year-old. The rates don't change. Let's have an example here. You've got a member, Gary Milgar. He lives in Madison County, so he sees an in-network primary care doctor in Norfolk, and then he goes to see an out-of-network heart specialist in Omaha. Well, he's gone to Omaha, and that out-of-network heart specialist accepts Medicare assignment, so he's in network. So all of his benefits are covered as if they're in network. So I want to make sure that's clear. That's usually the first thing that happens, that people think, wow, how does that work again? How do you get in-network doctors? Well, as long as they accept Medicare assignment outside of our network counties, they're considered in network. And then the cost of the plans, here we go. You can get an idea of the monthly premium. The thrift plan is $49, core plan $69, premier plan $125. These plans right here are the ones that we sell in Nebraska. The thrift plan, about 1% of our sales, roughly a little bit under 1%, basically is to veterans, VAs. They want to have some type of coverage if they go outside of the VA system. Those are the people that have been signing up for the thrift plan. The core plan, we have probably 20% or so, maybe 25, sign up for the core plan, which is still a pretty good plan. It's more like a Med Advantage plan because it has some copays in there. The Premier plan, we have the majority of our people, 75 to 80% of our people are in the Premier plan. As you can see there, it's got $0 copays. The only thing it has any copay that really applies is when you get down there to inpatient hospital, $100 per 60-day stay. So you got 60 days, only $100. And then if you're using a skilled nursing facility, you do have a maximum out of pocket of $3,400, which I believe is going to go down next year for 2021, but this is for 2020. The Medicare Part B drugs are covered toward the out-of-pocket in the Premier plan at 20%. So that's about the only way that somebody's going to hit their out-of-pocket, is if they have a lot of treatments like for Medicaid, Remicade, which is for rheumatoid arthritis, cancer treatment that they go in for to get drugs. Those will go at 80-20, and they go toward the maximum out of pocket. The core plan, you can see, has copays, does have worldwide coverage. The Premier plan does have worldwide coverage. And the thrift plan, again, is just basically for VAs, really works well for them. So that gives you an idea of the different plans that we have. There'll be some changes. We're not having a rate increase. I think we're having in the thrift, I think it's a decrease this coming year, but I haven't seen the final on it yet. This just gives you an example of Aetna, Cigna, Mutual, and Blue Cross Blue Shield of Nebraska. This is public information, not something we're scamming off of anybody or anything like that. But we went ahead and we pulled the premium rates for age 65, female, non-tobacco with household discounts. This just shows what the premium rates were back in 2012, 2013, the increase they had, 2014, 2015, and so on. There's their current rate. It went up from $98 to $214, $125 to $200, and so on. So they've had, these are the rate increases they've had. If you look at our plan, this is Prime Solution up in South Dakota. It's a little bit higher because it has a Part D drug card in it. But you see now it's been stable from 2017 on. And the other one in the Dakotas, the Premier plan, is stable too from 2018 on. You may be thinking, well, if you're taking disabled people under age 65, isn't that adverse selection? Well, it is adverse selection. However, we're reimbursed for the claims and we get an admin fee. So it's not really adverse selection to us. We're still doing very, very well on these types of plans. So we welcome those folks. Some of the extra benefits that they have, if you're on a core plan or a premier plan, you can go to any dentist you want to, no network restrictions, get $300 per year or $400 per year, nothing for the thrift plan. Those are extra benefits you can get. The eyewear you can get for the cost plan, $75, premier plan, $125, and hearing aids, you can get $400. If you do one in December, you can do another one in January, get $400 and $400. Those are extra benefits that you have on this plan. Also, it has silver sneakers. These are extra benefits too. Everybody loves the silver sneakers. If you've got a fitness system that's part of silver sneakers in your area, you'll see a lot of the seniors that go there. And really, I see them at a fitness center I go to here, and they seem to have a great time all the time. They're in the swimming pool doing exercises. They're drinking coffee afterwards. So pretty cool program to have. Now, when you're considering the cost, you're comparing a cost of one plan to another. You got a Med Sup and you're comparing, say, the $125 to what they're paying for a Med Sup, and you got an 88-year-old or a 78-year-old, that $125 is going to look pretty good. But in addition to that $125, you've got the dental reimbursement that you've got to take into consideration, because they're going to use that. They may have crowns or cleanings or whatever, and you can still have a dental plan there, but that's just extra benefits. Or the eyewear reimbursement. They may or may not use the hearing aid. Health Advocate. This is something the seniors really love to have. It is a 24/7 nurse line, but the personal advocacy support, these people work with the different members to help resolve claims questions, to answer questions about their coverage. Say if they're traveling, they want to know what do they do, where do they go, how do they find a network provider, what is Medicare assignment. They'll even help them schedule appointments. So you've got somebody that's living down in Texas during the wintertime. They'll work with them on scheduling appointments and saying what they're going to do. Somebody in Texas may go in that's a member living in Norfolk, and they may go down to Texas during the winter, and they show their Medica card and their red, white, and blue card. The provider probably will have no idea what a Medica card is. That's fine. Just show your Medicare card, your red, white, and blue card. Just show that. They'll file it with Medicare. Medicare will coordinate with us. So you don't have to worry about that. The Medicare will coordinate with us. Okay, I'm going to go back here for a second and talk about something else that's near and dear to everybody's heart. Say you sign up for a core plan. You've got all these copays. And let's say you're going to have open heart surgery on August 10th. You just find out about it, and they've got you in the schedule for August 10th. You can go ahead on the core plan. If you're prior to the 1st of the following month, call into Medica, and you can change to the Premier plan for that particular procedure, or for that month, for any procedures you have that month, and for ongoing months for physical therapy if you have that. And then once you're done with all that, you can switch back to the core plan if you want to. So you can switch. Say you're going to have a knee replacement, and it's the end of June. It's June 25th. You're going to have it on July 6th. Call into Medicare to the customer service number that's on the back of your ID card and change plans. Go to the richer plan so you have better coverage and then change back so you won't have as much out-of-pocket expense. Something that's really beneficial for those people if they want to go with the core and then switch to the Premier. I will say most people that go to the Premier end up staying there. But we have some people that jump back and forth. Okay, in your broker portal that you would get from us, you have a assigned number, that's an agent number for Medica. In there is a marketing hub. In that marketing hub, you can find all kinds of marketing materials. So we actually have some co-op dollars that we can use with marketing materials. We've had people run ads in different cities in those Wednesday papers that have all the coupons, and they run an ad, maybe a 5x7, something like that. One gentleman that did that said he paid for it in the first few days he ran it 4 weeks in a row, but he paid for it in the first week for the whole 4 weeks. And we did a co-op with him. So in the marketing hub, you have that information. Also in here is your broker client view, which shows all of your members that you have. You also have your Medicare enrollment receipts, people that you've submitted for Medicare. They want to change a cost plan online. They can change right there. Just gives you all kinds of information. Online enrollment, you can do that online. Find a physician or facility, you can do that right there. Let's go to the marketing hub. This just gives you an idea of some of the different pieces that we have, and you can have your picture on there, your name, address, phone number, all of that information that you can use for print ads, larger, small format, direct mail, digital display ads, all kinds of different things. We have a lot of people running Facebook ads. I notice my class is in that Facebook age that we have a lot of people that are on there and buying different products from there. That's a good place to be able to run advertisements. And then we have one-page flyers too. As I mentioned before, there is a broker client view that shows all your current clients. Now, if you are selling individual business, in your marketing or your broker portal, if you go into this part of it and go into the broker client view, it will show you which individuals are going to turn 65 within 6 months. There's a report section at the top that shows you which ones are going to turn 65. There's also a report that shows you which members on individual plans are going to turn 26. So you can go write them an individual policy because they're going to go off of their parents' policy because they're going to turn 26. I have a friend of mine here in Omaha that does that, and he writes the term life, he writes the medical, and he writes an accident policy. And he said he can get it all usually if their income's low and get it all for under $100. This all depends upon their income. Questions? Rachel, did we get any questions in?
So far, you're doing great. No questions.
Okay. Do you want to open up their mics in case somebody has questions? If anybody does, we're available.
Hey, Tom, this is Chuck.
Yeah, Chuck.
One thing I would bring up that we've noticed so far is probably the average age of all the clients that are being sold is somewhere around 74. And a lot of that reason, I think, is because when the Medicare client gets up to those ages, and they have some type of illness, they're not able to change to a lower price Medicare stuff. The cost plan works awesome in that case. And
That's a good point.
A lot of the seniors love the cost plan because they don't totally lose Medicare. Medicare is still in there. They're still involved. And we get a lot of comments that, oh, I don't lose Medicare. That's great. So
That's a very good point, Chuck. I have a lot of people that I've talked with that are agents that you've worked with over the years and stuff that I've been talking with about the cost plan, and they're saying their target market's the med subs, people getting increases, and usually around 74, 75 on up. I had a couple of 88-year-olds that I visited with another agent in Columbus, and they said they could drive to Omaha and see some of their doctors, and I don't think anybody wanted them to drive to Omaha, but they had the doctors they needed in Columbus. We've got a great network there. So we're one of the few that does. They don't have a Med Advantage plan in Columbus. They only have Med Subs. So it's a perfect market to market this plan. Good point though, Chuck. Thank you.
Tom, we did get a question asking you to repeat the part about the cross-selling.
Cross-selling.
Oh, I know it's the person, is that the one that where they're on the cost plan and they knee surgery is scheduled for? Is that what they're asking about?
I think that's what it probably is, where you move from one plan to the other.
You can, let's say on July, like you used, July 20th, they tell you you have to have a knee operation. They schedule that for August 10th. All the client has to do is call into Medica and say, would you move me from the cost plan to the Premier plan as of August 1st? And that will happen. Then maybe 2 months later, they want to go back to the cost plan after the surgery and everything's done. They can call back into Medica and it'll be moved back. It works pretty slick.
And their bill
Hopefully,
will change. Their bill will change from going from the core to the Premier. And I want to bring up a point on that. They can sign up and have it pulled out of Social Security, but make sure they check to see if it was actually pulled out of their check. They may have to pay a couple of 2 or 3 months before it actually gets pulled out of Social Security. Otherwise, they can get billed. You don't have to collect a check when you sell it. You know, they'll get billed for it. And we have a certain amount of time we're required to get it out the billing to them as quick as possible. So they'll be billed on a monthly basis. I personally don't like to do the Social Security just because it takes a while to set up. We've had some people that have actually been termed because they didn't check their Social Security checks.
No, that's true.
So he kind of went into more detail. He's asking more about the selling accident, life, and cost plan all at the same time.
Oh, he does that with the 26-year-olds when he does the cross-selling. It's not with the Medicare people. This is 26-year-olds. They're going from 25 to 26. They're coming off of an individual family's policy. And they can cover their kids till age 26. My son just went off last year. So we were able to get him on the same Medica plan, very similar Medica plan. He has a lower income right now for he and his wife and their baby and stuff. But yeah, you can cross-sell when you're doing that. You can't do that when you're working with the Medicare people because it is governed by CMS. So it's on individuals. Hopefully that clears that up. Sorry for the confusion.
Tom, it's Stephanie.
Hi, Stephanie.
Can you go back to the slide where you show the broker portal?
Yes.
And can you point out and show where they go to with your cursor to access their training?
Certification.
The certification, good point. Training and events, you go there to do your certification to be able to sell our products. You must be certified to do it. It's a CMS requirement. We have 2 short classes you need to take, and then if you've already taken like Pinpoint or one of those other ones, you can upload it in there to us, and we'll accept the upload of what you've already taken. But you have to take the 2 Medica classes too. So you'll want to click on training and events and be able to see the classes. Now, I took the test the other day when we opened it up. It's open up now to get certified for next year. You'll need to get certified for this year though. You have to pick which year, whether it's 2020 or 2021. If you're going to sell some this year, which I'm sure people will, you'll want to pick 2020 and get certified to be able to sell it. But the Medica certification parts, and then the other part that you can upload if you've already taken it, which you probably have.
You know,
Anything you
the
want to
good
add?
point, Tom, yeah, the good point, Tom, about the cost plans they can be sold all year round. There's
Yeah.
no AEP or OEP. They can be sold all year round.
Especially, I've talked to a couple of people that are working in Columbus market, which is a big market in Norfolk, that said they're having plans, other plans they have on the books that are getting increases different times of the years. So it makes it really easy to be able to sell it.
Right.
Other questions?
We haven't gotten any additional ones in yet.
Okay. Well, if you do have some, feel free to send them to Rachel and we'll get a hold of her, or she'll get a hold of us and we'll get the answers for you. I do appreciate the time today. I know it's kind of busy for some people. Other people, it's not as busy. It's funny how many pictures I've gotten of people writing apps on the hood of a car, where they're handing the app back and forth. So they got their 6 feet of social distancing. So people do what they need to do.
Definitely. And thank you very much, Tom and Chuck Geisinger. If you guys have any questions, let us know. We're here, 877-800-3080. And we'll get you in contact with Tom and Chuck and whoever needs to be there to get you guys started with this awesome product that's going on. And again, thank you, Tom. And if you have any questions or want to learn more, just give us a call. Again, it's 877-800-3080, and we're here to help you grow your business. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you.